what's going on, guys? Carolina Jackpot coming at you. Saturday, game day in Columbia, South Kakalaki. Gamecocks taking on the, depending on where you look at it, number 8, 9, 10 ranked Florida Gators. This is a big game for a number of reasons. Need to silence the naysayers. South Carolina coming off of a huge upset on the road against Georgia last week, 2017, in double overtime between the newly shorn hedges of Sanford and Son Stadium. Taking on Florida, got to silence those critics. You know, nobody thinks that we're going to be able to come out and beat a top 10 team 2 weeks in a row. And if you'd have told me before the season started that we were going to have the opportunity to do that, I would have thought you were crazy. I wouldn't have thought Florida would have been in the top 10 by this point in time. They have overachieved, and I would not have thought that we would have went on the road and beat Georgia, although I did say before the season started that I thought of the big three, Alabama, Clemson, and Georgia, that Georgia was the best chance for a win just because of the style of game they play, and we did exactly that. I'd be lying to you if I told you that I'm not nervous about this game. I am. Am I confident that South Carolina can win? Yes. But am I also looking at it with guarded optimism? Yeah, I am, because we've seen this a number of times in big spots where South Carolina has had some big wins and come out flat the next week, not play well, and lose a game that they should win. Now, I'm not putting that in this category. You know, obviously, if we lose this game today, yeah, it's what 70% of the nation is expecting to happen anyway. But I'm talking back 2010, South Carolina knocks off number 1 Alabama. Next week, goes on the road, loses to Kentucky. In 2013, South Carolina starts off like, 4-5-1, go on the road, lose to a terrible Tennessee team, and Butch Jones' first year there, just pathetic. Actually, this weather today reminds me of that game back in 2013. I was actually up there for that weekend. I stayed in Sevierville, Pigeon Forge area, and went to the game. It was cold, rainy, nasty, and we lost. It was just an overall bad weekend. And that's what this weather reminds me of, and it was the same time of year. I believe it was the same weekend, and too. So it's time to get some respect today. Time to get some respect. This Gamecock defense played very well last week. They played extremely well. And, you know, I've heard a lot of flack from all over the place, especially from the resident good old Tater fans, especially some that I'm in Facebook groups with. They like to talk trash back and forth to each other. We all do it. Calling last week's win a fluke. You know, it was a fluke. They'll spell it out in big old capital letters, F-L-U-K-E, all across the thing. Okay, so I guess I can call your win over Alabama in the national championship game last year that I made a big old long video congratulating you for a fluke as well, huh? I mean, that defense that put pressure on that quarterback named Jake Fromm, who hadn't tossed an interception all year long, and forced him into 3 interceptions. That wasn't no fluke, okay? That wasn't no fluke. Gamecocks missing very few tackles. That wasn't no fluke. This team has gotten to be a pretty good tackling team, and you have to be a good tackling team if you're going to win at the highest level. I mean, it's just proven. You have to have a good quarterback, and you have to be a good tackling team. Speaking of quarterbacks, kind of scared about that today. Ryan Holinsky going out there, the freshman. You know, I don't want to see this kid get hurt. He's already been hurt in games 2 times this year. He was hurt, could barely walk off the field against Georgia. He's wearing ice on his knees in the 3rd and 4th quarters, and now they're just telling me he's good to go. He's all right. Inside sources tell me he ain't, but from what I understand, he's going to play. And you know, that to me, Dak Joyner's, he's not 100% either. I mean, he's not 100% either. He's been nursing a lingering hamstring issues since a couple 3 weeks ago. And, you know, if it come down to playing the 4th stringer, Jay Urich, that's what you got to do. If these guys are hurt, they can't go. If you have to hand the ball off 40, 50 times a game, whatever it takes, I mean, we got some horses that can carry it. Got 3 good running backs. We're going to have to use them today. This is going to be a low-scoring game, I believe, just with the weather conditions. Of course, last year when we played Missouri at home, it was raining as well. It wasn't this type of rain. It was like a big monsoon that came all at once, and it was a lot warmer weather that day, too. This is raw and cold. Florida's not used to playing in this. I mean, quite frankly, neither are my Gamecocks, but I would say we're a little bit more able to adapt to it than they are. They come from that tropical area, just except they ain't no coconuts. Missouri game last year, I mean, it worked out in our favor in the end. That rain helped us. Didn't help Missouri, but it helped the Gamecocks because, it only rained really hard when Missouri had the ball, and the Gamecocks interfered with Missouri's headsets and the scoreboard, and we messed up everything. We put stuff in their Gatorade balls. I've heard that everything from Tater fans too. Excuses about why we won that game, and excuses about the fluke win over Georgia. But I know it wasn't a fluke. You know it wasn't a fluke. It was a great win, and if they can go out there today and hang a W on Florida, or hang an L on Florida, I should say, hang a W on ourselves, that's going to be one heck of a coup, and we're putting ourselves in pretty good position in the SEC East standings, and we're also putting ourselves in pretty good standing as far as bowls go on down the line. I'm looking really forward to it. Florida comes in, Chris Trask has done a good job since taking over for Felipe Franks, but let's just be real. I think Chris Trask was the better quarterback all along. I mean, I don't understand really why they didn't see that, but none of us really do. All they see him do is practice, and I guess Dan Mullen just never had Chris Trask in too many game situations where he was the go-to guy, and he had the chance, and then when he did, he shined, and he's looked really good this year. Nothing against Felipe Franks. I hate to see anybody get injured like that, but Florida was going to lose that game to Kentucky, and when Chris came in, he provided a spark, and that's what they needed. So looking forward to this. My final prediction of the game, I think Gamecocks win this thing 24-21. I think we cover the spread, and I think we take down Florida, get our second win in a row over a top 10 team, our second win in a row over a highly thought of SEC East opponent. Coach William Boom Muschamp, still not my favorite person in the world, but you got to think that this guy's job scared right now. I believe he would be, and I think he's taking that to heart, and I think he's out to get some respect from his peers and to win some freaking football games, which is what he was sent here to do. Because in the words of my favorite 4 horsemen of all time, Arn Anderson, was win, lose, or draw. When you look in the mirror in the morning, that person looking back at you, they got to be able to respect you just as much as your peers. Or it was something like that. I can't exactly quote that one. But at any rate, go Gamecocks. Muschamp, let's have a good coaching performance out there today. Let's nobody get hurt. Let's be safe, and let's whoop some Florida ass. Woo! Go Gamecocks.